Let's talk about a few remaining data types that we haven't discussed yet. And these are the last data types that we'll explicitly cover in this course. Those are sets, tuples, and none type. Let's begin with sets. Sets are an unordered collection of unique items. So there are no duplicate elements in sets. They can contain mixed data types. We have an example set definition here. Our variable mySet is assigned curly bracket. And then we have various types of values, integers, floats, strings, and closing curly bracket. And we see that we can contain those mixed data types. This looks like a dictionary a little bit in the sense that we have the curly brackets. So you might be used to thinking, oh, dictionary with curly brackets. However, you'll notice there are no key value pairs separated by commas. It's just values separated by commas. So that's how we know we're defining a set. That's how Python has defined this construct for us to use. And that's how we can define it, how we can create a set. We can, as we have talked about, use those curly braces. Also, we can use the set function to create a set. And there's a few useful operators. These methods are add, where we can add the integer 10 to our set if it doesn't exist. If it does exist, it will not be duplicated because there's no duplicates. We can remove a value. So if the integer 10 here is within our set, it will remove the integer 10 from the set. If it's not in the set, it will throw an error. So there's a way to work around that where we can just check if 10 is in the set before we remove it. I'll show you an example of that here in a minute. And we can also update our set, which takes in an iterable, multiple values, and adds those values to the set. And what I mean by iterable is a data type that can be iterated over, such as a list or a string. We can iterate over each index position and pull those values. So the update method would pull each character from a string. For example, if we put a string in here and add all those characters as separate items in a set. And we'll look at an example of that. We cannot access items in a set by index because the set data type is unindexed. So we can't say, as we can with lists, our list item in the 0th position, let's access that. We can't do that with sets because they are not indexed. But we can loop through them with a for loop. And some other set operations are, if you've taken some advanced math, you know about set operations like union, intersection, difference, and there are those methods available for sets as well. All right, let's come on over here to idle and define a set. So our curly brackets, well, let's put 1, 2, 3. Let's put some strings in here. Apple, banana, and close our set with a closing curly brace. So we've defined a set. And let's add to our set, myset.add, let's add 100, the integer 100. Now if we print my set, we see that we've added 100. As we said, this is unordered. It will just insert it into any location there. We could remove an item. Let's remove the integer 3 and print my set again. We see that 3 is no longer there. What if we try removing an item that's not in the set? Let's say 1,000. well, that's where we get an error. So what we could do is a simple if statement. We could say if 1,000 not, actually if 1,000 in my set. We're testing for membership. If 1,000 is a member of my set, if it's an item in that set, then we could say my set.remove 1,000. And nothing happens because it's not in my set. So we see my set is still unmodified as it was before. We can look at the update method. So let's define a string, say hello, and then use our update method with that string. And let's see what our set looks like now. So we've added each character of this iterable, this string, which is an iterable, so HOLE. And what you'll notice is that there's only one L in our set. However, our string had two L's. Now, that's because sets do not contain duplicates. So that's why we only have one L. So a nice demonstration there of how elements in the set need to be unique. And that's what our update method can do, is add items from an iterable. We could also say my list equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and do the same thing. My set.update my list. So we're taking this iterable list and using the update method on our set. And let's see what happens here. We see we already had 1 and 2 in our set. We've added 3, 4, and 5 to our set from this list. So another example of the update method. Lastly, I want to show you what would happen if we tried to access by index. Let's say print my set 0th index. That doesn't work. It's not subscriptable is our error, but we cannot access by index. But we can use a for loop. We've introduced for loops a little bit in the course, but we could say for item in my set print item. And we see we can print out every element in our set. So those are just a few things we can do with sets, a little context about them and how we can use them.